Hello.
We are here. I have a different tea in here, so I'm just realizing, yeah, there's some leaves
I
in there.
sometimes wish we did it in the morning, record this in the morning, so
Being
we
real.
can actually have coffee
I know this doesn't have caffeine in it, but we've already had ours by this time.
in the morning.
So welcome to Coffee and Childbirth,
Yes.
our little corner of the YouTube channel world. I'm Dr. Kelsey. I'm a physical therapist, and this is
Dr. Rhee. I'm a chiropractor. And cheers.
Cheers to us. We are going to talk about, so we talked about last time, a tool to support breastfeeding. So we talked about the Ninny, suck trainer, pacifier. Usually that's how it's marketed. And then we wanted to talk a little bit about, well, okay, you have a pacifier that you're using, but what about like positional? There's a lot of kind of positions that are out there to breastfeed in. How would a chiropractor support that? How would a PT support that? Because that's usually one of the things that moms ask is like, what's the magical, if I just do this, is breastfeeding gonna,
That's the situation for me, for everybody. It's like, what's the magical bed mattress? What's the magical perfect chair? And I go, there's just none. I mean, I don't, you can't see it, but I sit on a stool. And like a medical stool, right? So it pivots all positioning. I do it on purpose.
It's
for my core stability, and I'm not slouching. It keeps me upright. So because there's nothing to lean back into, right? So I'm always upright. So I think like positioning, there's no magic anything. It's really all about your own, tapping into your own core and stability. So I feel like that will kind of apply to sleep positioning, or feeding positioning as well. So I guess it'd be interesting to hear from your perspective, because you actually do a lot of feeding therapy with your little ones. I do too, but I'm not in their home, so that limits me in that way as well.
And I mean, even in their mouth, the same way. Like there was early on with infants, when we were like just meeting each other as far as professionals and kind of understanding like, okay, well, what actually happens in a visit? I think that even seeing a visit in your office where you were like, oh, this is like, you have a gloved hand, we're going in, we're facilitating through our cheek, underneath the tongue, I'm checking, like really getting to see what movement is happening under there. That is going to inform how they're feeding at the breast or the bottle. And even thinking about like sleep and their age. So
that's a big difference.
It's always interesting of like, that's why you'd ask, are we in a bassinet? Are we sleeping by each other? I don't have any, I'm not going to tell you have to do it a certain way. But if you're like, oh yeah, we're co-sleeping, or we do naps together, but sleeping overnight is in a bassinet. I'm like, okay, so that means when you feed at like a 4-month-old or a 5-month-old, have you tried side lying feeding? So where baby is laying, side and like parallel,
like
to
you're talking
you.
About belly to belly positioning
exactly.
on your
like,
underside.
They're parallel to you versus like perpendicular holding them. I'm like, oh, okay, if we have a chance to do that, it's one of my favorite ways to help them, and also help moms kind of understand your nipple is here. The baby has to be like up and extended. Sometimes it's really hard to understand that when they're laying in a cradle. So I'm like, if there's any
Can you even see? Can you even see what's happening down there?
So it's almost easier when we have like, okay, they're supported on the bed, and then you can kind of see what's happening. Earlier than that, it's a little trickier. Like, okay, we need some more
like infancy support. You're talking about
like 0 to 4 months, 0 to 3 months. Their head may not be, and mom may be really nervous about like their head going back, or most of the time I get a lot of that.
I know. Like, do you feel like
fall off?
I'm like, that's okay. Like it's just support. You can just support them. Like it's not gonna fall off their shoulder.
So it's even like, let's try that out. And they always feel more comfortable if they're laying down, which does make sense. So the feeding positions where it's like, that's usually where I start.
Got it.
And here you could have them try that like on the bed too,
I do.
which maybe you do.
Yeah, okay. I do mostly seated.
Okay.
Because I have to move a little quicker, obviously. My visits with my infants are about 30 minutes. When I say infants, it can be anywhere from, I kind of go about 6 to 8 months. It's like usually, and then, I mean, even depending on the development of the child, of course, too. But anyway, so when I talk about feeding position, I try to hit the mother's position first, because the mom has to be comfortable.
Yes,
right.
She's gonna be weirdly like you're holding Maple right now. Yes. You're not comfortable. Yeah, and you're trying to hold her, and she's gonna feel weird.
Oh, she's very comfortable,
and then
she's always very comfortable.
We may have to use her.
Yeah, right. But I have them on the bench, on my bench, and then I put the pillow behind them, so they're upright, and then I have a boppy that I put them under, and then even this morning, Mom was like, do you always like recommend the boppy? And I said, why would you want to crunch up like this? Yeah. Why don't we just bring the baby to you?
Yes, we want to bring the baby to breast. Yes. We don't want to bring the breast to
correct.
Baby. Unless you're dangle feeding, and then that's
a little different
story.
So I said, I don't have much, but most breastfeeding moms are engorged, right?
Sure. The whole point of the mammary
plumped up
is
right?
To be grown during pregnancy to then support.
Exactly. Right. So I tell them, instead of you going down there, you bring them up, and then you'll have more room to move the breast tissue as well. Yes. So you're not like try to pull,
like stretching down. It's like we don't need. And as a breastfeeding mom, like a mom who was breastfeeding my child, like we don't need any more
stretching
of that to help. That's already going to happen.
Right.
No, thank you.
Yeah. And you want full grip of your breast tissue.
Yes, and you want the baby's mouth to be full, which is also like. So it's,
do you ever say like shove it in there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Like, I say it all the time.
I'm like, it's okay. Your mouth needs to be more open. We need to have a full mouth. Full mouth. It's okay. There's a lot of like, it's okay. I know this looks, you're feeling a little unsure about this as we're doing it. It's a lot of that, like back and forth. Yeah. But like you said, even having the ability to make sure you're, as the person who's feeding, you feel like, okay, okay. Yeah. Because you have to get down that position first to then even take away a boppy or take away anything else if you're like out at the park or in the doctor's office, right? Like,
I mean, I have a boppy outside.
Yeah. But as far as like, we have to know how to do it really well with our supports, and then we can start to take away some of those supports.
Things away,
But part of the position, if we're laying on the side, if mom's laying on the side, and we're trying that, and then she's sitting up, I think so often early on in that 0 to 4 month range. And this makes sense because you're with your first baby, you're very like nervous you're going to break them. Right. But, in that position, they're like, oh my gosh, like they can't even hold their head up. They can't do anything. So I'm going to just keep them safe, and I'm just going to contort, which is kind of a metaphor for motherhood in general. Yeah. Like if you're fine, I'm just gonna contort myself into whatever I need to do so you're okay.
Correct.
But at least having the confidence of understanding why. Like if we're in a cradle position, if the baby's head is here.
Do you want to grab my baby?
I was gonna say I might have to grab your baby.
Yeah, I have my baby here,
I was
so
gonna say,
I can't move.
In the,
but if you want to grab, she's in the basket. Her name is Cupcake.
Oh, that's
all
right.
of my kids.
She was just really down in the basket.
Is she in there?
So I was like, didn't see her from the side.
So my kids shove her in there at times. So that's a good demonstration. I'll let you take over because you got the goods there.
I do. We should grab the other boppy that I have. I'm actually going to do it with a pillow that's not that way because honestly, Wendy, you don't always have that
boppy
with you. So even with the concept of if baby is here and if I take their arm and I'm actually going like underneath the breast, which usually is even just kind of like a shocker for moms are like,
you're talking about like tucking it underneath. Well, see, I don't have that kind of content.
Almost through like the armpit, like through your armpit, basically. Yeah, and then you're able to say, okay, your head.
Getting jealous.
She doesn't like this.
What's happening? Okay. Lie down, mama.
So then their head, so like their chin, right, has to be going up.
Yep.
Towards. Yep. So that's the other thing is like their chest, their little sternum, almost their belly button is like almost on my other nipple at this point because they're having to get this
that chin
up and out, right? To
that's
be
also
there.
Hopefully that will keep the breast
correct flanged.
Yep. And the nose a little open so that they can breathe.
Right.
And that's another thing that I emphasize with my moms because I say you want that full mouth with the areola and the nipple. But then I want a little bit of that space for the nose so that they can breathe not only because it's also because it promotes nasal breathing.
Exactly. Because you're sealed. We're sealed
everywhere is
here.
sealed and they're breathing through the nose. And then we do not want mouth breathers. Right. So we were really coaching that nasal passage to open up as well when we're teaching that. So
yeah, and so this position feels like, I also will say, I mean, I did this with my kids, so I feel like I have this is not doesn't feel weird to me, right? But I remember when I first started where I didn't have that same experience, right? And it was like, okay, let's just be able to get comfortable with where their head is. I don't really necessarily care where the rest of their body is, which is also something that seems kind of counterintuitive. Yeah. Because they're like, their body's all the way over here. Yeah. And if you have a long, like a tall or long baby, like a big baby, then you may feel like, well, my body isn't that long. How do I support them? And so then you start to really become, okay, I'm understanding that they're good. Like
they're secure.
You kind of have to know where they're secure. Yeah. Like their pelvis is the secure part. It doesn't have to be their full
And
leg.
it's going to be different for every mom because every mom's boobs are going to be different sizes and position and the nipples are facing inwards or outwards or upwards or downwards.
And then you have to, once you get comfortable here, you have to go, just kidding. Then
we're changing.
We're going to flip sides. Yep. And so then if you're like right-handed or left-handed, we're getting that supportive position happening. And so it really is, in my opinion, if I'm seeing a baby who is having a hard time with the position of breastfeeding and mom feels like uncomfortable, having them be able to see someone like you who is comfortable with, well, we're just going to get them. We just need baby to be, this is hers. Duh, this is cupcakes. We just want them to feel comfortable enough from that waist, from that pelvis, up to the crown of their head, so that they can rotate and move around. Right.
And that's going to be more apparent as they get older as well.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And so even, with feeding, like breastfeeding, you got to baby has to be mobile enough. You have to feel kind of mobile enough or confident enough with what you're doing, just so that you guys can figure out how those pieces are going to fit together. Yeah. I think a lot of times we feel like, oh my gosh, it has to be this perfect thing that I saw in the picture. And it's like, well, as long as their latch is correct, and you're feeling like you're getting that emptying happening, it doesn't have to be exactly in the picture, but I do want, the oral motor part to happen correctly. And like we said, the mobility to try it out.
To add on that, another thing that I talk about, and I show pictures, I have illustrations that I show to my moms too, the biomechanics of what's happening in their head as they're suckling and pulling the fluids or the milk. And every single time I have explained this to my moms, it's like almost like a light bulb goes on. We have to remember that the baby's head is enormous proportion to their body.
Correct.
And to facilitate all of that internal fluid movement that has to happen, we have to have proper drainage as well. So there's a reason why they need to be in their side position, because their eustachian tube, all of their drainage that has to happen in a horizontal position, because that drainage starts changing as they become more upright.
Yeah. So going from here or here.
Yes.
To then
it goes
here.
Yeah. And you've seen moms with older kids when they're on their hip and they're attached to their boob.
Yeah.
They're able to do that because they're starting to that eustachian tube is starting to change direction as they become much more upright, and it has to go towards the gravity, and that's a huge factor in understanding positioning of feeding. And we're talking about breastfeeding, but another thing that applies is bottle feeding, which I see that so often. When it's in an unfortunate situation where they feel like they have to bottle feed only because of the convenience of the position for the adult to hold the bottle, right? Yeah. And they're upright. So a lot of times they're upright like this.
Yes.
Right.
So one of the
But we want them to be on their side, mimicking the same position as breastfeeding.
Yes. And this will happen like you could be, breastfeeding like a champ as the mom or the person who has breasts and is breastfeeding or however that works out, partner or whatever. But then you can't and shouldn't necessarily have to be the person feeding every time.
Right.
If you go out.
Exactly.
And you have the dad or the partner or the
grandma
or the grandma or whatever daycare person.
Yep.
And then, like you said, you're like, but I do this all the time for myself when they're with me, but they're not always with you.
Exactly.
And then we have those people, lovely caretaker people come in and they're doing this.
Right.
And you're like,
that drainage is like, no.
Drowning your, I shouldn't say that. You're like waterboarding.
They're gurgling. And
I mean, I did this with my first before I had the realization, got into feeding, and I watched my husband do it and watched my relatives and my parents, my own parents do it. That's probably how they fed me as a baby. So it's not, I'm not saying it's like shaming that you did that, but
absolutely,
it's interesting to come from, if we think about like, if we have the openness and the self-awareness to adjust that, it can be very helpful, because then you're getting way more repetitions to work on something, right? Than to be like, I'm on, I'm off, I'm on and off. Because baby's not going to tell you that. Right. He's not going to be like, hold on, Dad. Or, hold on, Grandma.
Wait a second.
Nanny or whatever. Like, they're just going to be happy that they're eating. So typically, so I don't know if you have, so in that position, then you typically move them. I typically move them here.
Yes, I do that.
I'm using my feet on your shoulder.
I've had it where, so I always start with like, let's mimic breastfeeding position as close as possible.
Yes.
If it's dad or mom, and also depends on the body type. Like I've had dads like really wide shoulders and they just feel really uncomfortable. So you just have to find the right comfortable position. So I've shown that position that you're in right now. For most of my dads, I do that.
Yeah.
I entertain and have fun with the dad sometimes. And I'll go, can we just put them on your nipple? Not on your nipple, but like position them as if they were on your nipple. Yeah. And so they get all awkward and they don't know. And and then I stick the bottle in their armpit.
Yes.
And they're like, this is really weird. And I just love having fun with them.
Yeah.
But sometimes I've had like a small number of dads where they're like, okay,
weird.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
Because it's really easier. Once they feel the confidence of it and get the hang of it, it's really easier.
It's easier. Yes.
So that is one way to do it, like you said. So if they are like here.
And then the bottle is in their arm, between the armpit, kind
here.
of.
Like the bottle is coming in this direction.
I've had a dad that got really good at it, and he's like, I just do that, and I have my arm free, and I can do it.
Yeah, and some people can really, and that's where it's like some people are learners. Yep. Kinesthetic learners, and they can go through that whole cycle, and some people aren't, and that's okay. If they're not necessarily in that, arena where they can learn that way, then one of the two ways that I do that is either, which our chairs are a little too far apart, but I would put
your feet up.
Yes, I would put my feet up, so I'm in like a little. I'm in like a ramp position, right? And so then baby's head is here, their butt is on elevated. Their butt is on my belly button, and then the bottle is coming in this way, so it's still a side lying, and they're very much, most of the time they're pretty comfortable here, and then you have like a free hand, or like you said, you could do it like this, because it still gives you. Yeah,
it's almost like a little cradle.
Yeah, it's like a little cradle. My hand is on their head, and so then I'm coming this this way. And most of the time, I mean, the reason that I learned this from lactation consultants and the feeding course that I went to, but it was very interesting of like, it really does help them with less air, less gas. Like it just is. And it makes sense because it's technically called paced feeding. So it's like paced feeding you might hear in a hospital situation or like in an appointment, but it really is just trying to find that position that allows baby to take that, be drinking this way, and then even potentially I'm kind of bringing them up, facilitating
higher. That's a good point.
Once they're comfortable.
And so that head extension is so key.
Because usually once they're comfortable there, and I'm saying, okay, we'll try to get a little bit of that. And you kind of have to do that towards the bottle anyways, the end of the bottle anyways. And
that's this is a different topic, but that just to touch on it, that's head extension also something that I really emphasize on, especially if they're on their car seat. It drives me up the walls because all car seats are like bucket. And so that is so uncomfortable and is really strenuous to their back. So I do a lot of some of the modification there, but that really extension is important for that neck to open up so that they can swallow. I mean, who likes to eat like this?
And that's usually what I say is I'm like, remember, as you're drinking your bone broth or your coffee or your tea, and you're like, man, motherhood is so great. I'm so grateful for my baby. You're not doing this.
Right. You're extending and drinking up. So it's just simple. Honestly, if you really truly think about it, it really comes down to like mechanics and gravity. Right? It really comes down to like
use it to your advantage.
Like use it exactly.
And even this is another extension position, so not even for feeding, not for feeding specifically, but like you were saying, if we're trying to open that up and we're trying to get this, just like for our gua sha, for our necks and our faces, I just always feel luxurious when I do that. So.
I'm sorry, I just saw you like caressing your own neck.
I just feel luxurious. That's how they want to feel too. They want to feel like they're stretching
and
out,
open, shoulders open, chest is up.
I mean, that has nothing to do with like you having to do an exercise. That's just you're just hanging out with your baby. That, like they're so cute. They're they may not be super excited at first. Maybe a little bit fussy, a little bit wiggly. That's where we'd use the ninny suck trainer to try to get them to come together a little bit. You guys are working together, but that's one of the biggest things is the extension of the neck. And sometimes if they're like, baby is really up here and mom is like, I don't know what's happening, and they've tried a lot of things, or they've like, well, chiropractor has helped me, like you've helped mom or something. It's like, we really can help. You can help them get through and then utilize that over and over, because that's the nice thing about feeding is the good and bad of it is that you're going to do it a lot, which hopefully it's helpful to you, or you're going to do it a lot and be like, what is going on? I need help for this.
Exactly. That reminds me of a case that I'm working on right now too. The baby was a little stuck for a little while and then came out with some contusion in the face. Pubic bone was like right up against, and anyway, so the baby, I finally got to see the baby, and the baby's face is very, very swollen. And I've seen this before in the past with other cases, but this is a recent one. And the baby's face, poor thing, such a pretty face, but it was so poofy and swollen. Mom didn't know. Mom just thought, I just have a fat face baby. And that, in my opinion, also was restricting the way she was using her mouth. Because she was like, now she'll be 6 weeks old now, and I just started with her this week. So it just very forward. Because everything is puffy. Face is really puffy.
And if it's not, if it's not draining, right?
Correct.
If it's not draining, so your cerebrospinal fluid, or all the fluid in your upper part of your body, your head, down into your neck, it has to go down, and then also has to drain through front lymph nodes as well. So it has to drain out.
And she's got that puffy hump.
Yeah.
You know,
which
for
is,
the baby.
You know, ironic
Yeah.
because like moms, just women, people, but definitely women in general will have that, you know, up at the top, the dowager's hump, and they're like, I had no idea that was like a fluid / structural thing. And it's like, it really is.
And it happens to infants.
Right.
So, anyway, so that now she's like learning, okay, like positioning is really important for drainage. She's doing some massages and all of that. But that positioning is also, like you said, you're doing a lot of it. So every time you're suckling, it's pumping. So if she's, you know, if the baby's in a very locked up flex position, fetal position, they shouldn't be in fetal position anymore. They need to be up and, you know, stretched open.
Attempting to go against gravity, like attempting to use something. That's the way that we pump the fluid out.
So that congestive kind of strenuous, you know, position is what we want to go against or opposite, so that they can learn how to use their mouth even better with that as well.
Yeah, because so much of that is blocked off just because nerve wise it's like kind of compressing on that, and then it's not able to, we're not able to use it. So that is something that I feel like is always interesting for us to see clients together, as far as like they're seeing you and they're seeing me, because sometimes it's just that tweak of, we heard it from you and we heard it from Dr. Rhee, or we heard it from Dr. Rhee and we were able to hear it from you today, or however those things kind of
all work together. Is
kind of a nice way to do it.
So
as far as breastfeeding positions, usually my starting is, can we be inside lying on the couch or on the bed, and then or on the ground. I mean, if you're on the floor and the mat,
on the floor, on the bed,
if we can do that, and then if we're holding them, we really want them to be way farther across our body, and then so they can, way more extended. So like. So much farther than you think. And then also so much more extended. Like their head is off, but also my hand can be here. So those are the biggest things. I think.
I had a mom when I did that. She's like, but my nipple's over here. That's what she said. But my nipple's over here, Dr. Rhee. And I go, I know.
And you're like, watch.
We'll just watch what she's going to do.
What she's going to do. She's going to get up there and really get, And they're like, wow. It's wild.
So instead of like, again, that goes back to, instead of you going to them, get them to come to you. Open up, right? So I love our conversation today. That's our topic. There's so much more we can touch base on, but is there anything else that you want to make sure that we cover really quick before we wrap things up?
I think just it's okay to be experimental. With possessions for feeding. And that's why those groups are great, to be able to say, you're kind of feeding that way. We tried it this way. I kind of want like in between.
I love it.
What's going on over there?
Yeah, I like it. How do you, because I know you had a group thing that you used to do. Is that still going on?
That one's not still going on. So usually New Mom School is one that I would recommend, or Serenity Birth Center does one.
That's right.
Milk Bar. There's a couple others. New Mom School does a free one. There's one at UMC, across from UMC. I think
any one particular one that you really like, Dr. Kelsey? Because I feel like you're all over the place. Like I'm here and people come to me. I feel like you go to people. So
I really don't have one that I like
really like. Okay.
Most of the time, what I usually default to is, when are you going to actually go?
Ooh, so that's accountability, mama.
Maybe this is our next topic.
Okay.
Of like, what's the best exercise? There's not a best exercise. It's the one that you're actually going to do.
You mean there's no magic chair and there's no magic mattress and darn.
So let's see if maybe we can talk about that concept. But I like the groups that you feel like you can attend specifically, and they are easy for you to get to. They work with your schedule. You have childcare for your other kids, or you bring your other kids with you. So those are usually my retort questions.
Simplicity and accountability.
It's really
I like it. I like it. All
right. Well, maybe Cupcake will be back for the next one. We'll see. I don't know.
And Maple will definitely be back
for the next one or something. She probably drives a hard bargain. Who knows? But thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.